Today we're working on a Polaris Ranger. This one's a brand new 1000 XP. I'm going to show you what comes in our kits. Every kit comes with a front harness, which will plug into our module. And then it's got a pair of connectors for the left side and the right side, and 2 wires for the horn. We have them labeled front right, front left, so you know which way to go. They'll come with a horn. It's a pretty loud little guy. Only uses about 2 amps, so low current requirements for that. And we have our dash indicator, so this will plug into our module as well. And then these will go into the back of your instrument panel to control the arrows in there if they're equipped. They come with it regardless, so you can hook it up, and if it doesn't flash any arrows, yours is not equipped with it, and it's more of a base model. Then we have our modules. We have 2 options for the Rangers. We have a module with switches, which has a turn signal switch, horn switch, and a hazard switch. The indicators on the turn signal switch do flash when you're going left to right. And our module has a 45-second timeout, so if you forget to turn it off, you're not driving around like grandma thinking everybody thinking you're going to turn left when you're not. And then we have 3 connectors on it. This one plugs into your dash indicator harness. It's all labeled. You got this one that plugs in your front harness, and this one will plug into the rear. And we also have an option for column mounted lever. It's got a bracket, uses the factory bolt. We'll show you how to install that. And then it's only got 1 cable coming out, nice jacketed cable we have custom made for us. And then it's got 1 plug that plugs in our module. And this end's got the exact same connectors on it. You got the front harness, the rear harness, and the dash indicators, and then the one that goes to the lever. Now, all our kits are the same there for the Rangers, whether it's a 570 from 2018 to a brand new 1000 XP like we got behind us. The difference is the rear harnesses. This one, it's off a Ranger 900. This one actually has to plug into the taillights. And we have our license plate connector. These are all labeled right taillight, left taillight, and then a stock connector. I'll show you where to find that in a minute here. And then this one's for the Ranger 570. This is the older style that's got a 3-pin connector on it. And then this also plugs in the left and right taillight. We got another one for, this is the Ranger 570 SP, the newer ones. Instead of having a 3-pin connector at the back, they came out with this 8-pin connector, so you plug right into that. Then you don't actually have to touch your taillights. And then for the Ranger 1000s, the original ones all had a 4-pin connector. They upgraded to the 8-pin when the North Stars came out, and then kind of jumped back and forth. So you'll have to ID if you have the 4-pin or if you have the 8-pin. So we haven't figured out like exactly what models or what options, so it's easier just to look. And then we have our options for lights. So for the front lights, you can either get a large round on the side, on each side. You got a 3/4 inch hole you drill, and our connector goes right through the hole. The grommet snaps in, and the light snaps in. Or if you don't like the big one, you can get 2 little ones. They have a splitter that lets you just plug 2 lights right in to the harness. You can get 3 of them, scatter them how you want. You got another splitter that plugs all 3 in. So you'll mount these to your vehicle, you'll plug your splitter in, and then the splitter will plug right into the front harness. Or we have this nice little smoke lens one. It's got 6 LEDs in it. It's a pretty bright little guy, no different than the other ones we got. And then that will come with a pack of screws that fit right in there real nice. So you can mount this, and it's got a little gasket that sticks to the back. That one's pretty popular. And then that's for your front lights. Your front lights will go somewhere on the front of the vehicle. And we also offer a choice for your side markers, so you can mix and match however you want. We got 1 little one, 1 big one, or 1 smoked. And you'll want to put 1 of those on the side. That way you have visibility all the way around of your turn signals. That way people know what you're doing, and you're less likely to get hit by a car that doesn't know what you're doing. And we have our own in-house designed license plate bracket. It's quick aluminum, got some holes in it, some slots for your license plate. It's got a lit or a light on it, so you can see. So plug right into our harness, and then it comes with a set of screws to mount it. We'll mount one on this guy to show you where to put that. That's optional. It's an extra 35 bucks for that one. It's not flimsy like some of the other aftermarket ones. So that's our Ranger turn signal kit, and we'll go and show you how to identify which one you need based on your vehicle. So to identify which kit you need, just pop the box open and you will look right on the top middle. So this is where the connector will be for 1000, the Ranger 570, new ones, the 900, all of them, they'll be here. So you just want to identify it by this one. So this one will have the 8-pin. If you got the Ranger 1000 that's got less options on it, it'll have a 4-pin connector here, so you'll order that kit. The 570 will have its 8-pin black connector right here. It won't have the purple locks. The older 1000s and the Ranger 900s had a 3-pin connector here, and then the older 570s actually mounted it right here. So it'll be the same. It's actually the same wiring as the 900. It's just laid out different because you got a shorter run to your right taillight and the longer run to your left taillight. So the 570 will have a connector here or up here with 8 pins on it. The 900s or the older 1000s will have a 3-pin here, and then the newer 1000s will either have a 4-pin or an 8-pin here, and then you can easily check out on our website and select which model you have, so it'll be guaranteed to plug in. So now we'll get to our install. We will start in the back. We'll get our rear harness, plug it in here, and then we'll route it up to the front. I like to follow the factory harness because they picked a safe route, so you're not going to have it rub on anything, especially your drive shaft, because we do have to go near it up to the front. And then we just zip tie to that, so it's easy to make sure your harness is safe and you don't get pinched or wore out. All right, so first we'll want to get access to underneath where the footboards are. The nice thing with the Rangers is those actually come off nicely, unlike the Kawasaki's and some other ones. So pop your seat up, take out any trays that are under there. They'll all have some version of it. And we'll take out this piece. If you're going to do this more than once, or I mean even one time, if you have to take a push pin out, this is the tool to get. They're on Amazon. We got like a 20-pack. Came with a whole bunch of different plastic pieces, but this metal one's the best. So one here. Pop all these out. All right, so on this one, so far we got 8 push pins out. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the other side you got the same 4. You got one right here on the side. You got 5, 6, 7, 8. So you'd think it'd come out. Nope. They decided to put one back in here, right there. All right, so we got our first 8 push pins out. There's one here, 2, 3, 4. Those are easy to get to. On the air side, you also have 5, 6, 7, 8. But you'll probably notice it doesn't come out right away because they hid one behind the fuse box. So you got to get that little guy out, and the center console will come out. And back here you can see you got your data link connector. It's supposed to stay plugged into this to hold it, keep the dust out. Put that back in. But yeah, the rear harness will route underneath here, come under all these ducts, and then go under the floor. So get this one out and go to the front section. And also, some of these will come with a charge port in the back. It's got 2 wires to pop them off. The nice thing is, they made the tabs different sizes, so later on you can plug one in wrong, but you can't get the other one on, so it's pretty hard to mess that up putting it back in. So we got this panel out. Did our push pins for it. Yep, all 9 are in there. Now we'll have easy access to the harness to route it to the front. And we'll do the same thing up here. Flip your seat up. Pop out any trays. I will take that section out. So this will be the same. We'll get this out. Got those 8 out, same as in the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 on that side. This time there's 1 on each side in the back here. There, and we got all 10 out. This one has AC in it. So the ducts go all up in here, so we'll pop ducts off each side. Nope, there's only the one. Pop it off here. I'll run a new zip tie on that later. Comes off the back easy. So we pop those ducts out. We'll put them back in when we're done. We'll get this piece out. So there, now we have straight shot from the front to the back to put a rear harness in. And for our harnesses, we have this jacketed cable custom made for us for these kits. The nice thing is they're nice and smooth. They're already tough and durable, and when you're pulling them, they won't catch on stuff. You have the corrugated tube that'll catch on stuff. Even the braided loom, which we use on a lot of items, that can catch on zip ties, screws, little metal tabs, just you name it, it'll catch on it when you're laying down trying to pull it through. It'll make your day a little less fun than you're already having. So now we'll start back here. Unplug factory harness. Plug ours in line with it. Make sure you seated it all the way so it doesn't come out. This will be for a license plate light later. Now we'll start routing this. So I always take the connector that plugs up into the module. I fish it the way I want it to go, so we go under the drive-by-wire connector, under this hose on the air inlet hose, and pull it through. And I'll just go in stages, and I'll make sure I get it routed how I want. It's nothing sucks. Later realize you should have gone a different direction, not just pull it all out and start over. So now we got the routing started. Start putting zip ties back here. Zip tie it to the factory harness. We have a zip tie flush cutter, so that way nobody will get their arm ripped open. And a zip tie. So there's one here someone else didn't cut off. we have it down to there. I'll follow this harness down to the middle where we'll snake it up underneath the back seats. So as you can see, plugged in there. And then we're following the factory harness. Now we're down here. So we're going under this part. I'll put it on top of the gas tank because gas tank's right here. So here's that harness. We'll tuck it down here. We'll keep following the factory harness up under the front. Your harness up to here. Brought it up to the front. Shove it up down there. Should be able to reach it from the front seat area. Got it routed down here. I'm just pulling it through. And end up sliding it down there at the end. So it attaches to the harness here. Keep going up. Now we'll want to follow it up in here. You can go up here with the battery cables if you want. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's in a safe spot. So shove this through here so we can get underneath the front firewall. Make sure this is free to move so when I yank on it, it doesn't wrap around the accelerator pedal or anything stupid like that. Alright, so, oh, there it is. Sometimes when you get up here, there's not much room for an arm or a hand. But the goal is to get it from where it's at down there, up here. That way we can stick it through this hole. It's tricky with the air ducts in there. So where do I usually run this thing? Ideally I'd have it come up here. I can cheat, I can take the connector off, but that doesn't do you very much good at home unless you want to depin and repin a Deutsch connector, which it's not very hard. But so our harness comes up here. So what we'll do is we'll find the easiest way to go to get it up top. So if you look over in the headlight bucket, there's a hole. So that's where I'm aiming to get the harness. Want to make sure it doesn't obviously get caught in the strut or shock or whatever you want to call it. So we'll set it up. We make our harnesses nice and long in case you were running routing issues like this one has air and heat. So not everyone's going to have these hoses, so your arm would actually fit in here. But this hose will make a nice way to follow it. So we'll follow the hose up to the top of the condenser. Connector's gone. And we'll shove it up in here. So now this hose, or this harness is here. Make sure it's not looped. And our main goal is to get it under all this stuff. So we can shove it in to the dash. So now what you want to do clearly is just yank straight Give a little slack. You know what? Actually, I'm going to follow this battery cable. Yeah. Starting back here, we'll slide it over. We'll just lay it right on top of the battery cables, all the way to the front, and it'll come out. And we'll zip tie that in place. And we got that all zip tied up. Now you want to watch how you route stuff. Here's our cable we're trying to get to. As you can see, it's on the wrong side of the steering joint. So we'll pull it back down. Go around that. Alright, so we'll pull this back out and we'll start it back over down here. Alright, so we've got our harness zip tied to the battery cables. Now it's time to route it up front. What we're going to do is get it up through here, and hopefully we can get it over here easy enough to follow the lines for the AC, which yours may or may not be cooked with. We'll run it up here to the headlight hole. The harness comes through here, and then get it up front into the cab. Shove it up the side here. And we'll follow this hose up over this frame brace. Let's double check you're not wrapped around stuff. Alright, so we'll zip tie this back here in a couple spots. Shoot this connector. It's full. There we go. Now it'll reach into the cab easily. So now we'll zip tie that section of the harness. Alright, so we got that routed. So we will zip tie Clearly Polaris needs one of these, the manufacturing facility, because they got zip ties everywhere there. They're not even trimmed with the side cutters. So we have the rear harness, we got it fastened up here, fastened up here. Now it comes right here. We'll worry about getting that in there in a minute. So I'll take some stuff out of the dash so we can route our front harness, mount our lights, do the gauge cluster, the lever or switches, depending on what you guys pick, and then test it all out. Now we're going to get into the middle of the dash. This one has a windshield on it. So we're going to pop that out of the way.
So it takes away the smoothness.
To add smoothness, you don't have to buy a clutch kit.
Alright.
So we popped the windshield up out of the way. 2 push pins there. And that's going to be attached to the frame, I'm guessing. So to move the windshield out of the way, on this one, since it has the windshield, there are 3 bolts you need to remove. The T40 Torx, and there are 2 push pins. So you got push pin, 3 bolts. So pop your bolts out, windshield, and your cup holders out of the way. And right back here is the hole to get to that connector. So now in the middle of the dash is where we'll put our module. And we'll run the harness to the gauge cluster. And I will show you how the switches mount or the lever. So now we will put our dash indicator harness in. First we got to pop the cover off of this. 2 push pins. This whole thing pops out, that's nice. And then to unplug it, there's only 1 clip on the bottom. Squeeze it hard because it's flimsy and it doesn't like to come apart. I'll set this aside somewhere safe. So now we got this, the connector that goes in the back. Pop open the gray back shell. And you'll see they're numbered. You got wires in 1 through 5, 6 and 7 are blocked, and 8 has a wire. What we need to do is pop off little blue cavity plugs for 6 and 7. So you have our cavity plugs out. Now we got to pop the lock forward. There's a little white clip in here. Just press it in with a pick, screwdriver, whatever you want to use on both sides. Pull this clear lock. It doesn't have to come all the way off. Doesn't matter. And our harness is labeled pin 6 and pin 7. So green goes in 6, yellow goes in 7. So when we're done, we'll have 3 yellow wires and 2 green wires in this one connector. Just want to make sure all the pins are even. If it's sticking out, this lock won't go back on. And this only goes one way. So if it's not going on, just flip it over. Make sure it latches on. Then we'll re-close this. And we'll route our connector with their harness into the middle. Now you'll have functioning arrows in your cluster, provided yours has them. This one does. We'll zip tie that back in a minute because we're going to do the lever next. Now we're going to install our lever. The tools you need to do this: 4mm Allen wrench, 10mm wrench or socket, start by taking out the pinch bolt. This one's being quite difficult. There you go. Wiggle the steering column and bolt, twist it back and forth, and it'll pop out. Now what we need to do here is flip so your release lever is on the right instead of the left. Stuff the harness in here so it comes in underneath the instrument cluster. And then this will snap on. I'll put the bolt back in. There we go. We got the bolt through. Put our nut back. Tighten down. Now we'll bend the bracket down so it lines up where I'd like it. There we go. We have our lever installed. We put it on. To get it over the column, you got to kind of open it. So when you're done, you want to push down, get it seated, and lined up how you want it. You got the nut on there. And then lastly, we'll route the harness coming out of it. Up in here. So we got a bunch of extra crap in it because it's got AC. So we'll zip tie this all to this. Make it look nice, be secure. So we got this harness, this section of it hooked up there. We got our lever hooked up there with some slack in it. So we can go up and down and it's not going to be in the way of the gauge cluster. And over here we have our lever, dash indicators, and our rear harness is here. So we'll get the front harness put in and get our module installed. And we'll show you how to do the switches too. There's a front harness. You just on this connector and this one through the firewall. Route this harness so it's behind everything. So, rear harness through. I'll go ahead and I'll shove our front harness through. As I said before, they're labeled, so here's front left when you're in the vehicle, so that's driver's side. And we got front right, which would be the passenger side. Start getting those routed the right way. And we have our horn, which we'll mount in a minute. Follow this harness down here, we'll plug our, just tuck it under the headlight for now. This one can follow same path the rear harness took, so it's back here by the headlights. Next step's the front lights. This one we're doing the smoked one right here and the smoked one right back here under the logo. So for our smoked lights, we just drill a 5/8 hole for this connector. You can go up to 3/4 before it starts protruding past the gasket on here. So peel the two-sided tape part off. Here's some of the sticky came with it. Sorry, it'll get pinched down by the light. We'll stick that on there. So we'll drill a 5/8 hole up here, and back here, we'll do another 5/8 hole. And when you're picking where you want to put your lights, you can put them wherever you want. A harness. A harness has enough spread where you can put a light up here and back here, wherever you want, plus the lights themselves kind of lead on them, so you can really put the lights wherever you want. The main thing you gotta worry about is what's behind where you're drilling. On this spot right here, it's flat. There's nothing, there's only one layer of plastic. And then up here, can't get your hand on that. So what I usually do on the Rangers is I'll just pop this whole piece off, or at least out of the way, so I can drill a hole and fish the harness through. Top rivet back here. Top rivet here. Top rivet on there. Here. And there's one on the back side right here. get this off, you have your 5 pop rivets. 1, 2 on the back side, 3 down here, 4. Where's the 5th one? Oh yeah. 5. Let's delete that because I'm an idiot. So to take this off, you have 5 pop rivets. You got 1 here in the front, 2nd one's on the back of here, 3rd one's on the back down here, 4th one's on the bottom right here, 5th one's back here, and you have a bolt, which is a T25 torque spin. This thing comes off, and then you have this vent for something you want to make sure you pop the little vacuum hose off of. Now you can see inside here, we're going to put our light here. So what we want to see behind it is nothing. So there's a spot here where we can drill a hole and have the harness in the back of our light go right in there. So what I want to do is put this somewhere safe. I'll make sure I index where that is so I can mark. So what I want to do is index and mark where I can drill a hole and not have the light come through here. So anywhere from here to here is where we're going to put the light on this guy. So our spot will be right underneath the X. So mark it where we can go from here to here. Anywhere in here we can drill a hole and it won't hit anything. And of course up here, we've already figured out there's a nice open area right in the middle, so we can drill pretty much anywhere. Come on. Drill anywhere in this area. So we'll put a hole right in the middle for that light, and we'll put a hole in the middle of this tape for this. We like using a step drill with our bigger round lights. 3/4 inch hole is what you need, and this is 3/4, so you can go right through. On the bigger one, or on the smoke light, we stop at the 5/8, which is 2 spots above it. I always start by eyeballing it, and then I will take some measurements, transfer them to the other side to make sure. On the other side, I won't take this off because I don't need to see where to drill. You guys might not take it off either, but I guess I could have felt on the back side. Either way, just want to make sure it's a good spot to go. So what I'll do is I'll measure up from here, perpendicular. So it's 1 5/8. Tape over here so I can mark it. Okay. Now it's almost straight up and down from here. We're over about a 1/2 inch towards the center of the vehicle from straight up and down. So we got our hole marked where we want it on here. So what I like to do is I like to take a piece of paper and mark the edges of the hole right here. So what we'll do is I'll flip it over here. Line up those lines. Poke it. You can go through the 5/8 on both sides. Actually, put this back in now because we know our holes are safe from pulling through too much stuff. Push pin. Bolt. And for a side hole, more of a square than the front was. Measure in 10 inches. Up 1 inch is pretty good. Mark it on the other side. Alright, so we have our 2 lights. We'll run the connectors through the hole. And the screws that come with it. Take a number 1 Phillips screwdriver. You can pierce right into your plastic. So make it parallel with this body line. Cover the hole. You don't want to tighten it down too tight. If there's a curved surface, the light will pop apart as it tries to contour to it. So the gasket will help cushion it and you don't need to crank it all the way down. On this one, we're going to do fancy angle. So now we got our front lights on. We will sponge back this shield. Don't forget, if you took this off, to put your vacuum line on. Oh, that's not a vacuum line. Those are windshield wiper squirters. Either way, put it back on or you'll have a mess. Plug these in. So we got these 2 plugged in. Now we will zip tie the harness, and any excess slack we will stuff back up in the dash so it's in your dash not visible. And we'll mount the lights on this side the same way. Now we'll get the horn mounted. Got those mounted. Same thing, and plug them in. Now we're going to mount our horn. I like to use existing bolts because it's easier. There's one here that holds this panel on. So I'll mount the horn. I like to use existing bolt holes. There's one here. T30. And pop it loose. The horn, we put the purple and black wires in. Doesn't matter which way they go. As long as you get them on the metal tabs, don't get them next to it, because if you get it like that, or up here, it'll look like it's in, but it's not going to honk. You'll be wondering why later on. So make sure it's secure on the metal tabs. So we have it mounted to this bolt. You just want to index it so that your wires don't get pinched by anything or cut off, and that your horn's not touching, because you'll get a vibration if you don't. So next we'll zip tie all this up, then we'll be done under the hood. All we have left is the module, And switches, if you're doing switches, otherwise just the lever. So we'll zip tie this all out of the way and get on in there. Alright, we are done under the hood. This can go back on. Alright, so with the rear harness run, you shove it through the hole, so it is here. Same with the front harness. You have it run, you have it hooked up, all the lights are plugged in, horn, it's right here. You got our dash indicators here. Nope, that's our lever. We have our lever here, here's our dash indicators. So if you're running a lever, all you do is plug the lever in. We have our dash indicators, front harness, and our rear harness. Plug our instrument cluster back in. Put our push pins back in there. So now, so that's our lever module. We have left, right, hazard, horn, so we have lefts. The rights are on is running lights. Left tail light is blinking. Right one is not. Switch, got right indicator. Right tail light is off. The left tail light was off, right tail light's blinking. And we have the front blinking on the right or the left. It's on as running lights. And we'll keep messing around in here. After 45 seconds, the light will time out. Should be getting close. There, so the light timed out, your lever's still on. So if you want to turn right again, you gotta go to neutral and right or left. It won't time out with the hazards on. This module's little circuit board we developed, and it's programmable, so we have it set where the hazards will go on forever, but the left and right will turn off after 45 seconds. So that's the setup you do if you have a lever. Now if you want to do toggle switches, which you're more than welcome to do either way. We carry both sets. This module looks like this. Got the same 3 connectors on it. So you don't need to plug in the lever clearly. So we'll do front, dash, rear. So I missed the rear, didn't plug it in all the way or something. Right, so you got the rear harness plugged in, that gives us power. So it'll flash here and on the dash left. You got hazards, so they'll both flash, and you got your horn. So these you'll mount wherever you want. Pop these little switch blanks out. You can put 2 here. You can put 1 over here, however you want to do it. The cables for each one spread out, so you can put 1 on the left, 1 in the middle, 1 hiding over there, however you want to do it. So we offer both options on our site. So you can order them up. I'm going to start putting this back together and get this one out of here. So hook up our lever module. Wrap these up, zip tie them in there so that they're secure and out of the way. So we'll get this all secured in here. Rollers back in. Got our 2 push pins. This one has these 3 larger bolts to hold the windshield in place. Got our sponges out. This one go back down. What I did was I just popped this pin out. Now we gotta put this back in. Our air ducts on. This one had 10 push pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 on the other side. And we have the center piece in the back left. Don't forget to hook up your power outlet if you got one. I said before, they make it hard, not impossible, to screw up with the 2 different size pins. This one had 9 push pins, 1 back here under the fuse box. Yep. 4 more over here. They're all indexed, so you can't put them in. You should be able to put them in backwards. There we have it. All the Rangers will be about the same. There might be some different panels, different accessories inside. And clearly there's 6 different ways you can plug in the rear harness. But the same theory holds throughout all of them. Throughout the rear harness, up underneath everything. Mount your lights. Mount your horn somewhere under the hood. You can go anywhere. And the column mount is the same for all of them. So this will work on all of them from, shoot, I don't know, like 2016 or so to newer. Same with the cluster. So they have the same pinout on these, the Razors, the Expedition, they all have the same pinout. Or you can do the switches if you don't want to do the lever. But the video will basically work for any Ranger. Well, this one's the most loaded options you can get, so it had the most stuff in the way, but some of them probably get done in less than an hour. Just pop off the cover, 2 in the middle if it's like a 570 or 900 base without 2 rows of seats. It's pretty gravy. So that's it for the Polaris Ranger installation for our Kinnettic Kreations turn signal kits that we manufacture in-house here in Boscoville, Wisconsin. Order link will be in the video below, and look forward to hearing from you.